Welcome back here with Market Sense right here on ET9.
Alright, and let's focus a little bit more on the markets, considering today is a very crucial, important expiry day. This month particularly and the weeks gone by have been very volatile, and on the downward side this is causing a lot of jitteriness and caution in investor sentiment as well. To give us and throw some more light on what exactly could be the trend that could follow on, or if we're seeing more downside, we've got Parag Parekh, Chairman of Parag Parekh Financial Advisory Services, who's joining us on the show right now. Parag, thanks very much for joining in. What have you made out of this caution that investors are, taking right now in the markets and not ready to probably take those long positions already?
It's a good sign of the maturity of the investors. And if you see around us, there's so much of uncertainty. And I think it's good for the capital market as such that people are not mad and just buying into anything. It is a caution to the investment bankers. You don't come out with any paper in the markets because expecting the investors to buy anything. So I think we are going towards a much more matured market.
Right, Parag, the earnings season has been pretty disappointing. Most of the large caps have largely disappointed the street. What do you make of the results that we've got so far?
If you really go to see since last about a year or so, you have only good news coming and you expect only good news to go on. Earnings disappointments are there for various reasons. And I think this is the way the equity markets work, or where any corporates work. You just don't go on doing well for all times to come. You have certain breaks and all. So I think I think we will take it in the stride.
Right. Parag, but there are many on the street who believe that this is pretty much, where we are starting to look a little bottoming out here, and you could see some bit of a rebound back into the markets. On valuation basis, any counter that has been beaten down thoroughly is now looking cheap for a pickup?
Piramal Healthcare is really beaten down so badly, and I think they're saying it's a good investment. Some analysts find that they are getting into NBFC, which is not a good idea. Well, you respect the management. Management has been in has got good business sense, ethics, and they are doing their best to do whatever they can do. And the markets don't believe in that, and they have beaten down the stock. But similarly is the case with Noida also.
Right, but Parag, from the overall market point of view, do you expect a vertical fall from here on, or do you think they'll remain largely volatile and a bit range bound in the next 3 to 6 months?
Well, it's very difficult to say, but if you are a value investor, if you are doing bottom-up stock picking, I think these times offer good opportunities. How the markets would go, it's very difficult for anybody to predict, because the markets, the Sensex which we see is made up of 30 stocks, Nifty is of 50 stocks. Now, there's the big guys, they play in these stocks up and down, so it really doesn't give you the sense of the market. If I'm an investor, I'm going by bottom-up stock picking, and opportunities will come always.
Right. Parag, what have you been looking at, particularly from an oil and gas sector point of view, keeping in mind how ONGC has been fluctuating and the various issues that have been coming about. Reliance Industries also, production from KG-D6 yesterday had the defense sector, putting a curb on drilling, which could again be a setback for Reliance Industries. How would you look at these two? I'm a firm believer in the energy sector as such, and there are better companies like Gujarat Gas, Indraprasad Gas, I think LPG, Petronet LPG, these are good stocks to buy. I think these are good values.
Parag, what about the banking space? It's been under pressure for the last month or so. SBI stock in focus as well. How would you look at SBI and the banking space in general?
Well, the new chairman is cleaning up the balance sheet, and again SBI becomes a good opportunity from 3,500. People have just beaten it down to, I think it's about 2,100 and also odd. I think values are emerging in State Bank of India. If things go bad, it could be taken down a little bit, but cleaning up a balance sheet is not bad.
But what about the PSU banking counters, from the mid-cap lot? Will you be looking at any names like a Bank of Baroda or a Dena Bank, IOB? Any of these names attract you?
No, those, on the contrary, I would definitely go for the private sector banking like Axis Bank or HDFC Bank. And of course, if I'm going for PSUs, then State Bank has become a value today.
Parag, in terms of triggers for the market, obviously the important trigger that the market is watching out now is monsoon. What do you expect could be a potential monsoon impact on the markets, and could it trigger a bit of a rally?
Up till now the monsoon is expected to be in time, so I don't think that factor is playing too much in the minds of people. Now suppose if the monsoon gets delayed by about 15 days, then the markets will start reacting, and that time it can be a trigger when the monsoon comes, but not at present, because the monsoon comes every year, so it cannot be a trigger. It's only a salient event which can give a trigger.
Right. Parag, before we let you go, you mentioned a whole slew of names of companies that you feel have value, but one conviction buy.
One stock which we should buy is, I think, Noida Toll Bridge is a very good stock.
All right, Noida Toll Bridge is a very good stock. Parag Parekh, thanks very much for joining in on Market Sense and giving us your perspective. We'll slip into a short break right now and come right back.